Good morning, everyone. My name is Allison Jacobs, and I'm the Associate Director of Graduate Recruiting at the Robinson College of Business. I would first of all like to congratulate you on being accepted to our graduate programs. We are very excited at the prospect of you joining us in January, and we'd like to spend the next 30 minutes with you today discussing some things about Robinson and things you need to know prior to arriving in Atlanta in January. So before I get started, I'd like to introduce everyone that's on the webinar today. As I said, my name's Allison. We have Nicole Westfall here who works with me and probably you have been corresponding with greatly during the time that you've been accepted. Drew Webster is here from our International Student Services Office, and he's going to discuss visa issues with you. Tiffany Ashby is with us from Career Services, and she's going to give you some information about how you can get started on your job search even now. And then Tanya Mosley is with us, and she will be discussing some things that you need to know about advising. So just quickly, I'd like to go over the agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about Robinson, living in Atlanta, things to do to deposit, and then of course next steps with regards to graduate assistantships, orientation and start dates, and how to connect with your fellow students that will be starting with you in January. We will then open up the webinar for questions where you will have a chance to type your question into the chat box, and then one of us will respond so that we can make sure you have all the information you need before leaving the webinar today. So first of all, as I said, I would just like to welcome you to our very large Robinson family. We are the 8th largest business school in the country with 1,500 graduate students across our various programs. So as many of you know, we have 4 MBA programs and 20 specialized master's programs. So we do have a wide array of programs that our prospective students can choose from. One of the great things about our size is our large alumni base. You will be joining a group of 80,000 alumni that are dispersed all around the world. Of course, about half of those alumni are here in Atlanta, but we have large alumni bases in places such as New York, Colombia, Seoul, Korea, China, India, and of course Europe. I think now is a very exciting time to be joining the Robinson family. We have just come under new leadership. Our new dean, Dr. Rich Phillips, who used to head up our risk management department, has many ideas for not only expanding the Robinson portfolio, but developing relationships with employers, universities, and institutions worldwide to grow the global reach of the Robinson College of Business. Our top-ranked faculty are across all of our departments, and you will have a chance to interact with them very closely. One of the things that I forgot to mention is that while we are very large with 1,500 graduate students, all of our programs range between about 25 to 40 students. So you will have the chance to interact with your faculty, get to know your classmates very well. Another very exciting thing going on at the Robinson College of Business is that we are expanding our classroom space in our Buckhead campus. Many of you will be located in Buckhead, and we have just developed new floors, new classroom space with state-of-the-art technology where you will be able to take your classes, network with your students, and of course study 24 hours a day should that be what you decide to do. Just to give you an idea, we have a very robust student life here at Robinson. As you can see from this webinar, we have a very diverse group of students from around the world attending our many programs. And while you have a chance to interact with your students in a classroom, we also have multiple student organizations which you can become involved in. And we will discuss these student organizations a little bit later in the webinar, as this is a great opportunity for you to get to know people outside of your programs and of course network with the many employers that attend our events and come to campus to recruit. One of the things that we're very focused on here at Robinson is providing student service, personalized student service to you. And that starts at the admissions process, where Nicole and I work with you very closely to get everything to the point that you come here. And then we have a team of student services professionals that will help you with your academic advising, your career planning, and of course any issues that you may have that come up with your visa or your optional practical training or curricular practical training. So as I mentioned, we have 23 business-related student organizations, which you can immediately become involved with as soon as you get started. Our largest organization, of course, is the Graduate Business Association, and this is open to all of our graduate students and a chance for you to get to know people in different programs than the one that you are currently studying in. The GBA does multiple professional and networking events, and so you will immediately upon arriving to Robinson have the opportunity to interact with those 1,500 graduate students that are currently in our programs. We have a very great program for students that are interested in pursuing career opportunities in New York. Every year we take a group of students to Wall Street to learn more about the investment banks, financial institutions, and to network with our alumni that are currently living in New York. This is a great opportunity for those students that are studying in our finance, risk management, and accounting programs. We also have very active accounting groups as well as information technology groups and business organizations as specific as actuarial science and risk management, so that you will be able to find an organization that meets your career goals. We also have 27 international and cultural clubs, including the Chinese Student Union Indian Cultural Exchange. And again, these clubs give you an opportunity to get to know people from either different countries or countries or your own country. So we encourage you to explore our many business or international organizations on the website provided below, and even join prior to coming to Robinson, so you will have a chance to interact with our students. So I'm going to turn things over right now to Tiffany Ashby. Tiffany is a career coach in our career management office, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about getting a job, which is most likely the goal of most of you in attending the Robinson College of Business.
Thank you, Allison. Good morning, everybody. As Allison mentioned, my name is Tiffany Ashby. I work specifically with the graduate students here at the Robinson College of Business. And what I wanted to share with you all today, just a couple of stats to help you begin to think about how we're going to manage your career once you are here with us in January. So if you take a look at your screen, I wanted to make sure to point out, we get a lot of questions about, where am I going to be once I graduate? What sort of job am I going to get? What's the percentage of placement rates and things of that nature? So if you take a look at the screen, you can see that our accounting, specifically MPA, Master of Tax, MISAC, we have a 90% placement rate. In Matthias, we have 85%, and for risk management, 100%. So what that tells you all as coming in graduate students, we do very well with making sure your career goals are achieved upon graduation. If you take a look, we've got a few companies listed here, Grant Thornton, Income, UPS, LexisNexis, the Big Four. We get a lot of questions about the Big Four, and SunTrust. These are our partner affiliated companies. That means they recruit with us each year on campus. And so we have strong relationships with these companies, again, helping you to achieve your career goals. Okay, so who else hires Robinson graduates? Lots of companies. These are just a few, but they're very reputable, and they have such a strong presence domestically as well as internationally. I wanted to make sure that you guys take a look at these companies so you begin to, what we call on the career service side, engage in career exploration. So now is the time to begin to start at least doing a little bit of research about some of these companies we have listed on the screen, so that you know who they are, how do you within their company, meaning if my major is information science, who at AIG has a strong information science department? What are they hiring for? Analysts, directors, so on and so forth, programmers. So that's what we want to do, is take this list and begin to do some career exploration and really research who are the companies and what do they hire.
So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our program locations. So our two main locations are downtown and Buckhead, both located in the heart of Atlanta. Buckhead is just 5 miles north of our downtown campus, and Buckhead is where most of our one-year specialized masters and some of our FLEX MBA classes are going to be held. We also hold our flexible specialized masters such as MAS, MRM, downtown. Downtown and Buckhead are easily accessible by the MARTA, which is very convenient for a lot of our students who may not have cars in Atlanta. So you don't need a car to move here. You can easily access that by the subway. We also have a location in Alpharetta, and our executive MS in MIT and PMBA classes are held there. Now talking about living in Atlanta. So one thing that most of you probably don't know about Atlanta is Atlanta has a lot of different neighborhoods in which you can live. I've listed a few of the different neighborhoods that are convenient to our campuses, such as downtown, Midtown, the Highlands, Buckhead, Lindbergh. Lindbergh is very popular with a lot of our international students. There's a couple of listings for apartments, Uptown Square, Peachtree Hill, 771 Lindbergh. We'd really encourage you to, connect with current students or, your fellow classmates that are coming in with you to talk about where you guys might live. There's a big community up in Lindbergh that I think would be a great place for a lot of our international students. There's also a couple of sites we have on here that can help you with your moving process. ProMove is really helpful in helping you find a place and helping you get to that place. And then we also have an off-campus housing locator through our Georgia State website. Now just to talk a little bit about the cost of living in Atlanta. So typically in Atlanta, housing can run anywhere from $400 to $1,000 a month depending where you want to live. Utilities are usually about $100 a month. Most off-campus apartments are unfurnished, so keep that in mind. But there is one really great thing that we love about Atlanta is IKEA. It's where a lot of our students go and get their furniture, anything that they need. It's very convenient to both of the locations, and a lot of students utilize that, that benefit that we have. There's also on-campus living downtown, so you can see the kind of the pricing and the different options available for you. So just go ahead and take a look at the myhousing.gsu.edu if you're interested in living on campus. So now hopefully you're joining us and you want to know what happens next. So hopefully by now you've decided, okay, I'm coming to Georgia State. I want to join you. But if you haven't, log into the application system, select View Decision, and accept your deposit. If you're still not able to submit it, you can either email Brandon or you can email me, and I will make sure that you are able to get your deposit submitted to reserve your seat. Now, I'm going to turn things over to Tanya. I'm not sure if she's on there for the sound. Tanya, are you there?
Yes, I am, Nicole.
Great. Go ahead, Tanya.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Mosley, and I'm one of the advisors in our Student Services unit. Welcome. Hopefully, you all will be joining us in the January session, which is our spring session. What we do in the advising unit is once you've made your deposit, as Nicole explained, you will automatically get an email from us telling you about your next steps. So you're not trying to figure out what you need to do next. We send you that email that details everything that will get you through registration. First, you will need to make sure you've activated all your student accounts. That includes your student email, that includes your PAWS account, which is our portal that students use to register for classes, view holds on their accounts, see their account information to pay fees, and a lot of other things. So once you set up those accounts, you are ready to begin your journey with Robinson. We also make sure that you are aware of our orientation, which is mandatory for all students. There is an international orientation, but this is a college orientation, and everyone is also required to attend the college orientation. So we make sure you're aware of that and give you the dates for the orientation so you plan accordingly. And we also make sure that you take care of holds that may be on your record. That includes your immunization holds, your registration agreement holds, as well as your immigration holds for your F1 visa or whatever status you may have while here in the U.S. We get you through those holds so that you can have clearance to register for your classes. And then we give you suggestions for your first semester so that you're aware of prerequisites, restrictions, and also your options as far as course selection. Once we've gotten you through that, then you're ready to begin. Basically, you come to the orientation the Friday before classes start, and then after orientation, you will begin your classes. You can buy your textbooks ahead of time because all that information is available once you register for classes through your POF account. We also encourage you to start getting familiar with our Desire to Learn system, which is where students get all their course information, and they can start getting the syllabus of the course, start figuring out what will be due the first day of class and things like that. So we just want to make sure that this journey is as stress-free as possible for you, because we know you're making a big step coming from abroad or wherever you are to start your graduate program. So we look forward to seeing you on the flex side of the house, where we have Tanya and Ian, that's me and Ian, servicing flex students. And then for you all that will be in the cohort program, you will receive notification from Tracy Cooper, who is not here today, but she will reach out to you and tell you about your registration, because all of that is done by their office. So Tracy will reach out to the students in our cohort programs, which are also known as our one-year programs. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you pretty soon. Drew, you can take it over now. You're
Great, thank you so much. Now we're going to turn it over to Drew to talk a little bit about the I-20 process.
Hello, everybody. I'm Drew Webster. I'm from the International Student and Scholar Services Office here on campus. I directly advise Robinson College of Business, so while you are here, I will be your immigration advisor. All your questions should come to me for that. For this period, though, we do have the admissions process. You're probably hearing from other people in our office, like Asuka Akuno or Christy Brzezowski. So I want to kind of now lay out what the timeline is going to be, what you're going to need to be doing, because I know this is very important to everybody. I know people get very concerned about it. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting as much information as possible. So how does it start? Well, after you have actually been fully admitted to Robinson, they will notify us. That will take about a week or so. And then we will begin the process of generating what's called your I-20. Some of you are probably very familiar with it. Some of you may not be. The I-20 is the Certificate of Eligibility. What it is the U.S. government is Georgia State saying that we want to sponsor you for an F1 visa. So you will be getting that from us after you submit certain documentation to us. So as you can see on the page here, you're going to need to submit your passport bio page, our international application form, which we will be emailing to you, as well as your financial documentation. When you send all this in, don't worry. I know you may be wondering about what numbers are. We will actually send you an estimate, and it is only an estimate. It is not an actual bill. It is just an estimate of what the U.S. government is generally looking for from you. You will then be able to provide certain types of financial documentation to us, specifically documentation that is in liquid form. That means that it's available for you to withdraw from immediately, either a checking or savings account especially. It does not have to be your account. Somebody else, your friends or family, can sponsor you. But anyway, you will be receiving an I-20 from us based around that. So after that, your I-20, while you're here, by the way, also can be extended. It is the thing that allows you to extend your stay in the U.S. in case you need to for academic reasons. Now, as you can see at the bottom, you're going to be applying for your F1 visa at the U.S. consulate or embassy in your country. Some of your countries have several U.S. consulates or embassies. Now, the way this process will work after you receive your I-20, we will detail this in instructions there as well. But you can also go to our website, ISSS, that's ISSS.gsu.edu, and there you will be able to actually see the process laid out under future students. You will see how do you apply for an F1 visa. Now, when you go to apply for your F1 visa, there's some things I want to actually tell you to say right now, because it's not a big deal, but if you're coming in on F1 status, that's what your student status is, F1, you need to be sure that you understand this is a non-immigrant status, okay? The U.S. government does not want to see that you are immigrating here. They do not want to see that your permanent address is in the United States. Some of you might have family members here, and that's great, but that is not where you live. You live in your own home country, okay? So make sure any addresses you're using for when we say permanent, permanent means home country. When you go in for your actual visa interview, it'll be about 3 minutes. It's very short. But they will be asking you, what will you do after this? Make sure you emphasize you are going home after this. It is not a big deal. They do not always deny visas. It is not something that happens a lot, but it does happen. And the main reason they deny is if it looks like you're trying to immigrate to the United States. Now, I know some of you may be looking to actually do that, and that's fine. You may want to switch to an immigrant visa after you're here, and that is totally fine. But for the purposes of getting this visa, you are a non-immigrant. All right. So as I said, your status is your F1 status is given to you by what's called United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. You'll get to know this acronym a lot, USCIS. They are the ones monitoring you while you're here. They are monitoring you through a system called SEVIS, which stands for Student Exchange Visitor Information System. It's a lot of acronyms there, don't worry. And you'll be getting a certain SEVIS ID. When we say monitor, it does not mean that they have a camera on you. It just means that they just want to know what you're doing, like where are you living, that kind of thing. What are you studying? Nothing like, where are you going to eat today or anything like that. So there are certain benefits and restrictions associated with this. Of course, one thing we'll be going into in a minute is employment is a benefit of being an F1 status. Certain restrictions, of course, do not immigrate. You can, of course, like I said, change that later. As we said, your visa is issued by your local U.S. Embassy. You need to make sure you have your passport when you do it, obviously, as well as your financial documentation. Again, these are detailed on our website. But make sure you have a current passport. We will reiterate this to you at our international orientation. But your passport should always be good for at least another 6 months. That way it allows you time to apply for a new one just in case it's going to expire. Passports take several months to apply for. A very important note also about your visa down here. It is just your entry document. It is not what lets you stay here. Your I-20 is what allows you to stay here. Your I-20 dates are the most important. I'll go ahead and tell you, Section 5 of your I-20 will say what your completion date is. That is the date when your status will expire. You can extend it, of course. That's totally fine. You can always do OPT, CPT, work after that. But that is the date that matters the most. Your visa does not matter. Some of you will be receiving visas that will only say 4 months, and that's totally fine. Think of it like the key to your house. When you come into your house, you need the key. But once you're inside your house, you don't need the key anymore. So it's the same way with the visa. If you're leaving the country, you'll need it again. But while you're within the United States, if it expires, it is not a big deal. If it does expire and you need to travel back home, you'll need to apply for a new visa. So this is a big one. We know this is probably the lion's share of questions I get from students while they're here about employments. We will be holding employment workshops. Do not worry. We will be going far more in depth on this. Again, this is also on our website under current students, under employment authorization, if you want to go ahead and start looking. But generally, we do allow on-campus employment. It requires no authorization from us whatsoever. So some of you will have GRAs, not required by us at all. You can go ahead and have those. Some of you might just want to work at a coffee shop on campus. Again, that is not required by us to be authorized. The things that you do need to be authorized by us are any off-campus employment. And I want to explain why that is. So the purpose of you being here is that you are here as a student. So for the U.S. government, anything that you are doing, employment, anything, has to do with studies, right? I think that makes sense. So you have two types of those. You have the curricular practical training, which is the internships or jobs you'll have while you're in school, and optional practical training, which is the 12 months that are given to you as a benefit of completing your program. Some of you will have 17 months added onto that if you're in a STEM major. So I want to talk about curricular practical training first. We use the acronym CPT. Again, it's off-campus employment during your studies. It should be directly related to your major field. It will be authorized by ISSS. It'll only take us a few days to authorize, but you need to make sure that you get backing from your department. They say that this has to do with your major. If it's required by your major, that's totally fine. If it's not required by your major, however, you're going to have to wait 2 semesters before you can actually apply for it. Again, talk with your department about this. If it's required, you can start earlier than that. Optional practical training is, like I said, the 12 months you'll get as a benefit at least after you finish. It must be, again, related to your major field. However, you do not need a job to apply for it. It has to be authorized by us first, by ISSS first. After that, it will then need to be submitted to USCIS, who will take, on average, about 2 to 3 months to process it for you. So keep all this in mind when you're planning things out. Try and do this stuff as early as possible. If you're wondering about something, if you're not sure, well, should I do this now? Should I do it later? Always come and talk to us earlier. Even if you're not graduating for the year, come talk to us. You can go ahead and plan all of this out.
So now Tiffany will talk a little bit more about career services.
Okay, so just kind of what should you guys be thinking about right now? What we want you to begin to think about in January, get involved ASAP. Don't wait till the end of your program or after you are soon to be graduating to begin to think about your career. We want you to begin to become engaged in the various student organizations that Allison talked about earlier in their presentation. Make sure these organizations are aligned within your functional area. So they should, at minimum, match your career aspirations. We also want to make sure that you're going to be engaged in any recruitment activities or company information sessions. The Career Management Center, we partner with those partner employees that we talked about a little bit earlier to bring them into campus so they can share information about who they are, what they do, and what are they hiring for. We want you guys to pay attention to the emails and communication we're going to send out to you next spring and get yourself to these sessions. Also at the Career Management Center, we offer and host our own various workshops. So anything from resume review or writing, interviewing tips, strategies, mock interviewing skills, social networking, such as LinkedIn. We offer these various workshops, again, to help you guys be turned on career management practices and to make sure you're going to get the job that you want. All right, and then last, we want to make sure that you are going to update your resume according to the specific guidelines that we outlined that are attractive to our employers, and that will be sent out to you once you return your deposit. All right, see you guys in January.
So now I would like to spend some time covering our graduate research assistantships. We get quite a few questions regarding GRAs, and I want to make sure everyone on this webinar is clear on the process for receiving a GRA and also what that GRA will cover. So first of all, a graduate research assistantship is how we do scholarships at the Robinson College of Business. And you would, upon receiving your graduate research assistantship, you will be paired with a professor in the business school, and you will work 12 to 16 hours a week for that professor. In exchange for your work, you will receive either full or partial tuition waiver. For our one-year programs, that's MSIS, MIB, marketing, those tuition would cover 1/3 of the total tuition price. So it would take your tuition down from either $41,000 or $37,000 to about $25,000 or $22,000. In addition, you receive a monthly stipend of $500 per month throughout your program. In some cases, we give these GRAs out to our most competitive students. So for those of you that scored very highly on the GRE or GMAT, in the next month, you may be receiving an email from Nicole saying that you have been selected to interview for a graduate research assistantship. Nicole and I will conduct that interview and then determine whether to award it to you or not. However, that is not the only way to receive a graduate research assistantship. We give out about 20 to 30 GRAs on a merit basis per semester. However, you can seek out a GRA by applying to grahire@gsu.edu. You will submit a resume, you will fill out an application, and your resume will go into a database. Faculty members who are authorized to hire a GRA will go through this database and find resumes that best fit what they're looking for. In addition, when you apply for the GRA, there is also a list of office managers within RCB that typically hire GRAs, and you are welcome to email your resume to the people that are provided on that list. You can also send your resume to Nicole because we often have faculty come to us asking for GRAs. So it is possible that you will receive a GRA prior to coming to campus through the method of you seeking it out yourself. In some cases, students find the GRAs once they are already here. So again, just to cover this again, you will either receive a graduate research assistantship through the merit application, or you may seek out that GRA through the process I just explained. So, as we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we have quite a few programs, and each program has a different orientation date, and each program has a different start date. So I want to cover some of the things that will apply to all of you, and then for those of you in our one-year specialized programs, you will be receiving multiple emails from Tracy Cooper with exact details as to when is your orientation date and when is your start date. So the first one that I want to cover is that everyone that is an international student is required to attend an ISSS International Student Orientation, and this year that will be taking place on January 7th and 8th. For those of you that are attending our FLEX programs, and that's either the FLEX MBA, the MAS or MRM, or managerial science programs, you will have a required orientation on Friday, January 9th. As you can see, the one-year programs all have different orientation dates. And some of you that are coming from overseas may not be able to attend the ones that are in November and December, and that is okay. We will do a makeup orientation for our international students in January once you arrive. The program start dates vary. The first date that classes may start are January 5th. So make sure that if you're coming and looking to book your flight to Atlanta, that you reach out to Tracy Cooper and verify when you need to be here to start class. So we will definitely be in communication with you if you have not received that information already. So what we would like now is, you may still have additional questions, and you may be looking for ways to connect with other people that are starting the program. So you have all received a Facebook link where we have all of our RCB admitted students. We also have a number of current students that are on the Facebook page as well. So if you want to ask questions about specific places to live in Atlanta, if you want to learn more about a specific program, you can post your question to the Facebook page, and one of our current students will answer it for you. We also encourage you to use the Facebook page to find roommates. Many of our students that started in August were able to connect through Facebook and find apartments and living arrangements through the communication. So we really want you to use the Facebook page. Nicole and I will be posting information weekly about things going on at RCB, about additional living places that you can consider. We will be starting an airport pickup link. So please join the Facebook page and also interact and use it as much as possible between now and starting in January. For those of you in China that may not have access to the Facebook page, we have a Weibo page, and you can see our Weibo account We have one of our current students from China manning that, and she can answer any questions that you may have about Atlanta or RCB. So at this point, we would like to conclude the webinar. All of us are very excited about the prospect of you joining us. We know that you have many choices, and we truly hope that you will choose the Robinson College of Business to pursue your graduate studies. We are here for you for any questions that you have throughout this process. Please make sure that if you do have any doubts, you reach out to us so that we can at least try to address those for you. So right now, what we're going to do is if you have questions, please type it in the chat. We will do our best to get to each of your questions and answer the ones that are most applicable to the group. For those that are very specific to your own situation, we would ask that you hold those questions and ask them to us in an email after the webinar. Thank you very much, and we will start answering questions now.